Welcome back to the channel, and this mug might give you a clue as to what car I'm expecting to arrive outside my house any minute now. Right, I've been told it's here and I can see it. It's just down there.
A bit more. Go on, left hand down a bit more. Keep going straight, go down a little.
Now, Citroen have given me this car for a few days before the UK media launch of this car. I am going to be going on the media launch, and again I'm going to be driving this car and be putting it through some challenges which Citroen will be laying on in central London.
I've been cheated by you since I don't know when.
But these few days before that launch allows me to spend some proper time with this car and see what it's like living with it day to day. Of course, I have driven this car before. I drove it nearly 2 years ago, and I have to say the surprise value hasn't gone. As soon as this arrived, I was like, oh my god, it's a Citroen Ami. But you can watch my full video by clicking in the top right. But before I actually show you how I got on over my 4-5 days with this car, let's take a little look around it. Now, everybody who has stopped me and spoken to me about this car today have all said how cute it looks. Nobody has said it's an ugly looking thing. I don't happen to think it is an ugly looking thing. I think it looks absolutely tremendous. Now, since I last drove this car nearly 2 years ago, of course, Citroen is now properly importing this car into the UK, and as such there is a proper trim level. There's the basic Ami, which is around £7,800. Then there's the colour editions, orange, grey and blue, and they come in at just over £8,000. And then there's the two range topping models, the Ami Tonic, which looks a bit sort of off-roadery with roof bars and sort of cladding around the wheels, and this one, which is the Ami Pop. It's a slightly sporty, it's got a slightly sporty look to it, so you get this black sort of colouring here, you get black lower bumper, you get these wheel trims. They're not alloy wheels, they're wheel trims, but coloured orange. You get the number sticker on the side, and get this, there is a spoiler. Unbelievable. This must be the most unlikely car to have a spoiler. It's actually quite a good size comparison, because that over there is a Twid Igo, and this is the Citroen Ami. And you can see how minuscule it is. Now, to keep the costs down, not only do you get a plastic body, but all of the body panels, they're interchangeable, essentially. So the back is exactly the same as the front. And the doors, where they are exactly the same doors. So on this side, they open in a suicide fashion, whereas on this side, they open in the conventional direction. That's because they are exactly the same door on either side, and like I said, that is to keep the costs down. Right then, let's get inside then. You just pull it with this little strap, and there we are. Bit echoey in here, so let me just open this window so it's not quite so echoey. Now, I love these windows. They open like the little catch there, and they're just like the kinds of windows you found in the Citroen 2CV, actually. Little nod to this car's heritage, and of course, it's dirt cheap, isn't it? The dashboard. Now, it's all plastic. Everything in here is hard plastic, but you wouldn't expect anything else, would you? But it's the little design touches which I absolutely love. Now, in this Ami Pop model, the chosen colour is orange, but in the Ami Tonic, it's yellow. So you get this hook here to hang your shopping or your handbag or whatever. You can hang all sorts of things from there. And you get these little trays and things painted in orange as well. So this is a little flip up little compartment there. You can put your drinks in there, and a little bit Lego like, just a little tray that side. Here you can actually spec this car with a special Bluetooth speaker. You see the little Bluetooth logo there. So because of course this car doesn't have a stereo system, there's no radio, so you can have your speaker there and listen to music through your phone should you wish. You can place your phone here. Citroen has also created a smartphone app called My Ami Play, and it effectively allows you to control and use your phone as if you had a touchscreen infotainment system. You get a demister, you get a fan, and you get your hazard warning lights. You get a big door bin here. You've got your grab handle to close the door like I showed earlier on. This one over here is to open, to release the door. It's a bit like a Porsche Boxster Spider, all of these little material tags, aren't they? Another big door bin on the other side. Down here is where you can store your luggage. So there's a little onboard carry-on luggage symbol down there, so you can store your luggage down there. There's a little net there to prevent it from moving across into the pedal area. You get these very natty rubber mats. The seats, right, firstly you will notice that I'm sitting on the left hand side of the car, and so is the steering wheel. Why is that? Well, Citroen was not going to spend thousands and thousands of euros re-engineering this car to right-hand drive. It would be totally pointless, and the car is absolutely minuscule when you're driving it. It doesn't feel like you're driving a left-hand drive car at all. So they are plastic backed, but you do get a little bit of cushioning just to make the ride just that little bit more comfortable. You get an extra bit of storage in the back there. There's a little shelf up there, although things would fly around. You can open this up by using the key, and when you do that you just get access to the washer fluid. Nothing very fancy in there, but it's all neatly packaged, isn't it? Rear window, the roof, I mean, you can just see how this car is built. It's just a metal frame with the plastic body just sort of bolted to it, and you even get a sunroof. Look, it's almost panoramic. Look at that. It just helps to make this car just feel a little bit more airy. And you can see that, I should talk about this a little bit later on, but you do feel like you're driving around in a massive box. Now, powering the Ami is a tiny little 5.5 kilowatt hour battery. Now, you're probably wondering, how on earth do you charge this car up? Well, it's perfectly straightforward. All you need to do is you open this passenger door, and then the actual cable is in here. Now, in France, you just charge this car via the little 2-pin plug. You plug it straight into domestic electricity, for example, but of course in the UK we have different plugs. So instead of actually changing this to a 3-pin, Citroen actually gives you a Type 2 connector, and you can pull it all the way out and then you can plug in. The only problem that I've got, however, is, and if you excuse my messy garage and excuse my fabulous MG ZT there, I've got a charging point, but mine is a tethered one. So when I actually need to charge this car up, I actually can't charge it up at home. I'm going to have to rely on the public charging network. Now, to charge up that 5.5 kilowatt hour battery, you're probably thinking it's tiny. It'll only take, 10 minutes? Unfortunately not. This car has only got a 2 kilowatt on-board charger. So that means a full charge of this car takes between 2 to 3 hours. This is one thing that I like. This little, you might think, what on earth is that? Well, it allows you to actually put that through there, and then when you actually close the door, the cable doesn't get stuck in the door. Nice little touch, that.
Could you put the aircon on, please?
Yeah. So I've been driving around in this for the past few days. They are some memorable days, that's for sure. And I've tried to do sort of normal things, you know, taking it to the shops. We've gone and got the weekly shop, which actually does fit in here. And it's actually lived up to life pretty well. I mean, normally during the week you just do kind of normal, mundane kinds of things, don't you? And this car's been absolutely fine. In fact, the range hasn't been the biggest problem with this car, it's the speed. Now this car is limited to 28 miles an hour. Now that's absolutely fine in a really dense city. It's even fine in my little village round here, but as soon as I venture out of my village, and I live in the South Downs, so it's pretty hilly, you can see where I'm going with this, can't you? Once you get onto national speed limit roads, this car is painfully slow. And when I say painfully, I really do mean painfully, because you are constantly aware of there being an enormous queue of cars behind you. There's a guy in a brand new Rolls-Royce Ghost there. I've got the cooler car, mate. I've got the cooler car. This car is worth the price of one of your wheel nuts, but it's still cooler. That's the thing with living down the south coast. You tend to see quite a lot of, my goodness me, it's an Austin Maestro. Not only that, but it's a Ledbury Maestro. If you know what one of those are, then put it in the comments below and show how intelligent you are. Sorry, national speed limit roads. Yes, because this is limited to 28 miles an hour, if you do go on a national speed limit road, particularly one that's hilly, it is absolutely terrifying. You feel like you're an absolute menace. Not only that, but if you drive in a big city with many lanes and people are quickly cutting across the lanes to get to where they are going, again, you feel very, very vulnerable in this car, because you just feel as though people can't see you. But when you're actually driving this in the inner city, you find yourself having a whale of a time. You can just absolutely floor it from junctions, and it seems to be the quickest car on earth. You can thread it through the smallest of gaps and nobody ever notices. And of course you can park in the tightest of car parking spaces. In fact, you can park this car much like you could the original smart car. So you can park curbside, you park nose in. I have to say, in my 4 days of driving this car, the novelty value has not worn off. Now, the last time I drove this car was nearly 2 years ago, and I thought, well, surely this time round I'll be driving it in more considered fashion, I'll be using it in my day-to-day life, I would quickly become bored with this car. But I haven't. In fact, I think I've grown to love it even more. I just think this car actually fulfills a purpose. Now, it's not to everyone's liking. Not everybody needs a car like this, because let's face it, this is a commuting car. This is a very flawed car. I mean, it's not even a car, is it? But it is a deeply flawed product. But in its own right, and in the right setting, this car is absolutely perfect. If you need a car just to pop to the shops occasionally, and of course you've got access to another car, this is absolutely terrific. The Renault Twizy never really took off here in the UK. It was just a little bit too flawed. What with that seating where you sat in it like a fighter jet, and it didn't have, you had to pay extra for windows, and it just didn't quite work. It worked in Saint-Tropez, but not in Preston. This though, what with the fact it is a proper two-seater, you sit side by side, it's a little bit bigger than a Renault Twizy, it does kind of work.
Not only are you constantly aware of the fact that you're not very fast, but you're also very aware of the fact that to some people you look like a complete and utter clot. Now, some people absolutely love it. You're constantly driving around, people are waving at you, they're giving the thumbs up, they're taking photos, they're smiling. Then there are other people who are openly laughing. Now, when I took this car to Sainsbury's the other night, there were a group of youths with their skateboards, and they absolutely howled at me. They thought this was the funniest thing they'd ever seen in their lives. And it is really, isn't it? I think to every person who loves this car, there will be somebody else who absolutely hates it. This, like the very best of Citroens, divides opinion. And it divides opinion extremely well. The thing I've been most surprised about is that this car really does, and I've got my foot to the floor here and we're going up a hill, worrying times in the Ami. And the thing that has amazed me the most about this car is that it distills motoring down to the smallest element. I mean, there is no flippery here, there is no show, no pomp, nothing. This is motoring in its rawest form, much like it is in a Caterham. But more so than a Caterham, a car that obviously focuses on fun, this is about the car being a proper commuting tool. It's a car for the people. And in that respect, it is very similar to the Citroen 2CV, a car designed to transport the masses. Now, this car, these days, we are very privileged people. We are very sophisticated when it comes to cars. We are very cash rich when it comes to cars. Most people can afford to have a normal car that has modern day luxuries in it. A proper back to basics car isn't quite so appealing to many people these days. But in a certain situation in the centre of London, perhaps you are, I don't know, you don't want to hire a Boris bike, for example. You'd rather stay dry, stay a little bit warm, and stay a little bit safer. This is absolutely perfect. It distills motoring and commuting down into its most basic, most plebeian element. You do think that, look, I'm stuck in traffic, I'm trying to enter Portsmouth, but it's so busy. And I know this car is flawed, it's got very limited means, but you do think this is where electric cars should be. That's where manufacturers should be focusing their efforts on small, cheap, massively efficient electric cars. This is where the market is. This is where people want to move into electric cars cheaply. They don't want absolutely massive virtue signalling electric SUVs. The problem manufacturers have is that they don't make any money on small cars, let alone electric ones. It's just, in this sense, the needs of the consumer just can't be met by the car manufacturers. It can't be met by the wider car industry. Until that is cracked, electric cars, small electric cars, don't stand a chance. Right, I'm going to try and beat this scooter off the line. Is he going to be up for a race? Right, light's going to go amber in any second. Take my foot off the brake, because this car doesn't creep. Oh, I'm in the wrong lane. Oh. It was the world's worst drag race. I was in the wrong lane. He was up for a race as well. What an idiot. Right, I'm going to be very cheeky. I'm going to zip past all of this traffic. And try and move in. That's what I'm going to try and do. Oh yes. No. Oh dear. Oh dear, I can't go any faster. Go on, you go. Go on. That's it. Thank you very much. Oh God, I've got an AMG Mercedes right behind me. He's not going to like the fact that I'm going up a hill. Please. Please get up the hill. Please. Please get up the hill. It might be quicker to push, actually. Right, so I'm with Tish here from Auto Social. She's going to take this, well, we're based at the SMT, right in central London, and we're going to be doing a number of challenges today. God only knows what they are. I'm more interested in the French lunch that's actually booked for us. So she's going to do a bit of the driving, I'm going to do a bit of driving as well, and of course, we're going to win.
Obviously.
Obviously. Right then, so let's...
yes, let's get
46
going.
miles of range, we're going to be alright.
This is the first task. Oh, why aren't we going?
Oh, well, it's a good start, isn't it?
Are we just going for it?
Oh, we need to... oh, God, we're going, do we? Tasks.
Tasks.
How...
Okay, so... is there a next?
If you're in it, or if it...
Do you want to come in? Come in, hello. Hello.
Okay, I don't care.
There we go. Street.
All right.
Oh,
Street.
thank you.
Right onto
Thanks
Great
very
User
much.
Street.
Is that you?
No, that was him.
Oh, right.
He's loving it. Oh,
Roadhog! But you've spent a lot of time in this car, so have I. You never get used to the sense that you're driving around in like an enormous goldfish bowl. A Portaloo? Yeah. We're on two different wavelengths here with this car, aren't we?
That's what I feel like it feels like, a Portaloo.
It does feel a bit Portaloo-ish, actually, yeah. You're right.
In the loveliest kind of way.
Is there a nice way to be in a Portaloo? Yeah, let's go.
I think so.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Mr. 7 Series. I take back everything I said about you. Right, I think we've got to try and turn... Can we turn right here, or is this only for buses?
Handbrake.
No.
Oh, did actually hit it.
Right, turn right here. What's the range?
46 miles.
Yes. You can lease it for £20 a month. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah. People love you. People wave.
Wave at you.
Yeah, they love it.
Right, so next task was... don't worry, it's on. So we've been tasked that we have to record a road trip song and send it in.
Yes.
And
carpool karaoke style. Sorry, just a bus there.
Alright.
So,
Cheated by you since I don't know when. So I made up my mind and it's come to an end. Look at me now, will I ever learn? I don't know how.
Oh no, damn no. God's sake.
I don't know how.
Why did I ever let you go?
You're not singing the lyrics.
You are looking at
The winners of the Citroen Ami UK media launch. We did everything. Our karaoke was amazing. The photos were, well, they were phenomenal, to be perfectly honest with you. And that is the, what a great car. Oh, it's not a car, is it? It's not a car. I have to keep stop calling it a car. It's not a car. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, it was fantastic. Definitely, if you've enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up.
Yes.
And if you want to see more content from Batch, then head over to his channel. Again, I'll pop it down below. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, then go ahead and hit the
Subscribe to hers, not mine.
See you later.
Bye.